Good day. Today I'm going to present a story. It's a sequel in a series of stories I wrote for movie making, Detective Raja. This is third in the sequel or fourth in the sequel. This story surrounds about his own personal life of detective or private investigator, PI, Raju. And he got a girlfriend, he dates with Ganga. She works in a small store. She lives in a shanty town outside the city, kind of a septic canals, drainage, open drain. On the other side, people live in sheds and thatched homes. It's a very poor neighborhood. Most people who live day to day, But he likes Ganga, and Ganga likes Detective Raju very much so. So they're in love. There is a item song between them, a dream song. And also, he enjoys her company and she enjoys his company. And one day, Detective Raju will take her girlfriend, Ganga, to her place to drop her on a motorbike. And then she's talking in front of her small shanty house, 1 or 2 bedroom house, with a tin rake shed as the roof. And it's a dirt road and open drains and the septic smells, the bad odors. It's a very bad scene. And I saw an old man slowly walking with a stick with a bag with small girls. And he asked Ganga, who is this man? I always see him in a distance in our surrounding area, in this shanty town. He says he's a very good man, a philanthropist, an old guy who comes and brings food and medicine to the people, distributes, and he take care of some orphan girls and put it in a safe house and give good education and jobs in other cities, and he will send them with a good job. He did a good job. He is coming here for last 10 years. And then, okay, that's a good man, hard to come by these days, and then he follows. But then being a PI, curiosity, he drops the Ganga at the house and then follows the man and then on his scooter. And the man goes to an old Suzuki car, beaten up car, and then drives slowly. And then he follows him. Being a private industry, he's always curious. And then when the detective follows, this man drives and drives and drives around the city and reaches a suburb where there's a big mansion, beautiful house with a compound wall and a gate and a security guard. And then he goes inside, he's surprised, So he must be a very good man to take care of all these orphan girls and put in this nice mansion to educate them, give a job. And then he waits outside for a few minutes thinking about this man, because this man looks like somebody he knew, he saw, but he can't put a point on it, He just can't identify the man. But then a few minutes, a car comes out, a very good, high, expensive model of Mercedes. And then he saw the same man in different clothing, completely different, as if he transformed, He looks more young. He wears a dark suit and glasses and a hat. Looks like a flamboyant guy, not a philanthropist, not old sickly guy walking in the shanty town, giving away medication and food, distributing to the poor people and taking care of them. And then he follows him. And then this fellow goes to the downtown, to a nice club, They play cards and have drinks and a lot of very good food, Not very few people have the membership. And then he realized this fellow is Bhujangam. The city is a top businessman. He owns restaurants and movie theaters and malls, and a very rich guy, They wonder what this guy is doing. Maybe he's a real philanthropist, That's not bad, A rich man lives a dual life where he spends his money, live a lavish life, and then he helps poor. That's a good deal. So one day, he was still curious, and then he somehow jumps in the back of the compound wall and peeps in the mansion. And there's a lot of girls milling around, They're not good looking. I mean, they're okay, they don't seem to be great, well fed. There's no education, nothing taking place, it seems. There's no teacher or tutors there teaching them or having fun or games. They're sitting very idle, as if they get scared, He got a doubt. He want to, being a private investigator, his curiosity. So he tells Ganga, he tells that Bhujangam, he is a businessman, he's not what you think he is, but maybe he's helping poor people, but I am doubt. So I want you to do something for me. I want you to follow him in your humble clothing and tell him that you are an orphan and you need help, you want a job. And then I'm going to give a small GPS monitor in your purse you carry so you know where you are, We don't know in these days. She says, fine, I will do it whatever for you. She loves him dearly. So she goes, and then one day the old man is walking slowly with a stick with a bag of medications and give it to poor people. And then she goes, sir, I need your help, I need your assistance because I'm very poor. I lost my job. I'm not getting a job. I have hand to mouth, if you can help me give some education and a job. Anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world for that matter, I'm willing to work as a maid to make a living. And he says, sure, I'm happy to help you. And then he put a hand on her shoulder, slowly walking. He says, let me finish distributing the medications, food, we'll go. And if you have nothing else to carry, obviously you have nothing else to carry, I'll take you and put it in a nice shelter, and then from there we'll select a job for you, and then we'll send it there, okay? And then he put a hand and they go to the old Suzuki beaten up car. He drives her, and then, of course, Detective Raju is following them, and then he goes inside the building, and then he keeps a vigil. This fellow with his assistant Ali, he gives the Ali job tonight to stay nights, not fell asleep in a car, a few yards from the yard, of this mansion, Vijayangam's mansion. So he watches. Next day, Ali calls Raju and said, these girls are getting into the van, and I saw Ganga is also getting in the van. I'm sure she might have sent a text message to you that she's on the way somewhere. Yeah, I just got a message. Actually, she's going to the airport to get into Calcutta flight. She gave the flight details. I bought a ticket on the same flight. So Bhujangam drives all these 12 girls, including Ganga, to the airport and send off to Calcutta airport. And then Detective Raju following them, so he disembarked the plane with girls, followed at a distance, and then what this fellow does is he gives an old man on the flight to go along with these girls. Bhujangam did not go with them on the flight, he went back. That old man gives hand over these girls in the luggage collection area, in the baggage area, to another man. He's a Bengali, an older guy in a big van. And then he disappears. And this Bengali guy takes these girls and tells them, you are safe in my hand, I'll provide training for jobs. If you get a job in Delhi or Bombay or Punjab or Haryana or Chennai, anywhere we send it from here. And then in Calcutta, Detective Raju meets an Indian auto rickshaw guy from his own state. He speaks his own language. He provides a comic relief. He is a comedian. He gives jokes. And when they follow the man with the van with these girls, Raju follows with his auto guy, communicating, talking, chatting about trams and traffic and girls and movies and everything, whatnot. A to Z subject. He have answers. He's a comedian, but he works he's a poor guy, drives his auto rickshaw. And then he reaches a home in the godown, like a storage area, a warehouse in the city. And then he puts the woman, and then Raju and this detective, this auto rickshaw guy is very curious, he tells Raju tells his identity. He tells, I'm a PI, private investigator, following the girl. And my girlfriend is in the team, I want to know where they're going to take. He said, that's good. I'll help you, And then they both peep into the godown or the storage or warehouse. They found a lot of girls milling, They looked like scared, as if something going to happen. And then they stay outside waiting and sleeping in the auto rickshaw outside the warehouse. And then Ganga sends a text message to Detective Raju that they're going to fly out to Bangkok, Thailand, next day morning. He said, the old man said, there are a dozen girls, including me, flying out to get a maid jobs, they're good paying jobs in Bangkok. So you better get on a reservation for that. So Detective Raju immediately get on. She gives the flight details, so he gets a ticket and books a ticket on the same flight. So in the airport, he kept at his distance, but he is looking at Ganga and Ganga looking at Detective Raju, but the old man don't know the connection. So they fly, including the old man, to Bangkok. And then Raju follows them to the baggage collection area where they met a Thailand man, a native of Thailand, an Oriental man, stocky, kind of reasonably built, medium age, 55, 60, a strong built personality. And then he had a black cap, and pant and trousers and shoes, a decent looking guy. He hands over and disappears. The old man who flew all these girls from Calcutta to Bangkok, Thailand, disappears in the crowd. And this man pick up these girls, take it and ask them to put it in a van. He's businesslike, He don't say much word because he cannot speak. He speaks little English, and some girls speak English, some can't. And then Ganga sent a text message saying, we are going somewhere, I don't know, I hope you are following. Luckily, Detective Raja get an Indian driver. Boy, he talks. He's a comedian again. Provided all the comic relief in the movie. They follow this guy, this Thailand native, the girl's truck, and then he take it to a warehouse like old building in the city center. And then he drops, the van goes inside, and then the gate's locked. And a gate man will close, and that's it, But these people are got something going on. And Ganga is sending text messages. She's worried, something is going to happen. And then she tells there's so many girls in this big warehouse or a storage place area or godown that these people I smell a rat, something going to happen to me bad, so you better do something. And then he texts us, don't worry, I'm following. You got a GPS. Wherever they take in the city and Bangkok, we follow you, don't worry. The next day morning, the Thailand native man comes and pick up 12 girls in a van, and he tells you are going to work in a massage parlor. You have to give massage to the customer and collect money. You don't have to do anything. But he's telling a lie, because he pick up the girl at 7 p.m. and go between 9 o'clock, he reaches the red light district where the prostitutes and hookers hang out. Tourists, Americans, British, Europeans, Indians, all tourists will mingle. And some of these guys came for sex. And there is a whole lot of parlor, massage parlors and yoga clinics, restaurants and dancing clubs, of course bars galore. It's a red light district. The Bangkok is a night is day and night. The whole night looks like a day. There's so much of traffic of tourists, lights and neon lights and everything glittering, very exciting for people just to walk up and down in the street. Some people like us, that's what we do, some shopping, some eating and go home. But other people stick around up to morning, 4, 5, 6, drink and go to massage parlor, do prostitution. And then he drops it, each girl at the massage parlor leaves. The massage parlor owner tells the girls to give massage and also do whatever sex act they want to customer. Otherwise they cannot leave. That's the deal. So when Ganga goes to the massage parlor and this old man is this guy from Bangkok talking, and the Raja, Detective Raju and his his good friend who became a very close friend, chatting with a taxi, an Indian immigrant working in Thailand. They will call the cops and caught them in red-handed with this truckload of girls. And two girls already deposited in one of the massage parlor. And then the police will come and arrest him. And then the Detective Raju tells that where this fellow has a house, a lot of girls, and then the cops will follow him and round up all the girls, maybe 2, 3 dozens in various physical forms, and some are very weak and not well nourished or not nourished or good food for eating, And then they realize what they're doing, human trafficking, sex trafficking. It's a very crime number one. And there's a lot of innocent girls are collected like this, sent abroad to do prostitution and hooking. It's called in America, prostitution. So Ganga will meet Detective Raju. They fly back with all the girls, Indian girls. There are other girls from other countries, also Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and all those countries, Nepal, all these countries. The police will take pictures of each girl, their addresses, they send it, they meet the respective embassies and drop them there for safe return of their countries. That's a great job between Detective Raju and Ganga. And then they return home and then talk to the police, give all the information, videos of all girls gathering, and go to Bhujangam's palace, big mansion, and the police arrest him. And now he was embarrassed at putting his handcuffs on his hand and TV cameras all over the place. Arrest him, he's living a dual life, double life. In the morning he's fine and nice, respected gentleman and businessman, philanthropy, opening restaurants and lecturing, meeting politicians, meeting actors and musicians and all that. And he goes to Shantytown. It's like where he distributed free food, and he did some philanthropy work. But his main focus for years is collecting these orphan girls between 14 and 18, 21 like that, bringing and then shipping to Calcutta, from there to all these Thailand, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and all these countries for prostitution, and even some abroad, like Russia and other places. So the police appreciate the work the Detective Raju is doing, and Raju and Ganga will sing a beautiful song, and they have a dream song in Thailand, Bangkok, also in the streets, running around with other group of dancers. And of course the comic relief is from the two, the cab driver, the Indian descent, Indian man, working in Bangkok, and the guy who drives auto rickshaw in Calcutta, who helped Detective Raju. And Ali, of course, he remained at home to do his some other detective work, follow-up work for Raju. So everybody is happy, and this is the third or fourth movie story I made in the series, in the sequel for Detective Raju stories. You may have same actor or different actors or different actors. It depends on the director and the producer. So if anybody interested in buying copyright for this book or for this story and other stories I presented thus far on YouTube, my channel, go to send me an email requesting how to purchase the copyrights. It's reasonable price. Actually, I don't charge that much. I want a good movie made out of this. Subba4, my email address, subba4@msn.com. SUBBA4, numerical number 4, @msn.com. Thank you. Bye.